Okay, guys, I've got a new toy here, as you can tell, so, uh-oh, you're screwed. But anyway, what I wanted to do is I want to provide you guys with a very, very short update on what's going to be on the test on Monday and what you need to know, all right? I want to make sure that, if you happen to be out of class or whatever, you know what you should be probably studying. So there are really three things I want you to know. And the first thing, and it was the last thing we covered, so it's important that you really understand that, is what an isotope is. And that's real simple. There's nothing complicated about it. You guys do know that the atomic number is the number of protons. Atomic mass is the number of protons and neutrons, essentially. And so, therefore, the number of protons, the number of neutrons is always the atomic number minus the atomic mass. All right? So, for instance, in carbon, we have atomic number of 6 and atomic mass of 12. 6 from 12. That means you have 6 neutrons. All right. Isotopes are a little funky because the reason they are is the number of neutrons you have isn't exactly critical. All right, so you can have elements have different numbers of neutrons. That's why a lot of times when you look at the atomic mass, it's not an even number. All right, and the example I gave in class, you could use this when you do, your essay question, is hydrogen. Okay, hydrogen actually always has the same atomic number. Atomic number is always 1. All right, but there are 3 forms of hydrogen. The common one, the one that's like 99.9% of all the hydrogen on Earth, is hydrogen 1 with atomic mass of 1. All right, that means it has 1 proton, 0 neutrons. But there's also 2 other forms of hydrogen. There's deuterium, which has 1 proton and 1 neutron, which acts just like regular hydrogen, except it has 1 neutron and therefore an atomic mass 2. And then there's tritium, which is another form of hydrogen, which has an atomic number of 1 and a mass number of 3, which means you have 1 proton and 2 neutrons. The fact that they all act the same just pretty much tells you neutrons are basically inactive in the element. They don't really do anything with regard to how the atom works. Okay, so that's one of the things you need to know. Another thing you need to know is you need to know everything you possibly can about how protons and neutrons act, where they were discovered, all those subatomic particles are all going to be in there. So I'll ask questions that kind of really require that you understand what's going on. It's not enough to just memorize. Okay, so like a question might be, what atomic particle was discovered by the cathode ray experiment? All right, and you have a choice, proton, neutron, electron. Obviously, electrons. Okay, or in the milk and oil drop experiment, the oil drops rose and were elevated towards a positively charged plate. What atomic particle did that prove the existence of? Again, that was the electron. All right, so you're going to have to answer questions about protons and neutrons and electrons. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Those are all going to be multiple choice questions. And then there's also going to be a whole series of questions on the scientists and the experiments. What did the experiments prove? How were the experiments set up? Who did what? Those are all also going to be in there. Now, finally, there are 2. We already mentioned one of the essays is going to be about isotopes. Another essay is going to be about the experiments. Explain the experiments, explain what they proved, explain who did them, explain the setup. All right, and I'm going to expect you guys to do that in a very specific, very clearly cut way. And then the other thing, after we do the experiments, is I'm going to ask you guys to explain Dalton's theory. So make sure you know all of those things, okay? If you do that, you should do okay on the test. I just posted this. Hopefully this will help. If you don't quite remember, if you happen to miss school on the last time when I did a review, that's what's going to be on the test.